Modernist architecture focuses on two things. Number one is simplicity. Number two is beauty. This is a clubhouse I created, and what I'm going to do is give you a short tour and then go back through and point out some various design details to hopefully give you inspiration to make your own modernistic structures. Let's get started. As you walk in, here's the front desk, some chairs and an end table off to the right, and to the left is a clothing store. Members can come in here and purchase tuxedos. Nothing really special in here. And then across the way is the bar and grill. There's various tables, couches, easy chairs, and of course the bar. Around the corner here is the bonfire lounge. Its full capacity is 18 people, seated comfortably. And that's basically it so far. I'm just going to step back outside. Now let's go into the details. First of all, when the player first spawns, usually in conventional ROBLOX games, there's an actual brick. That's the spawn point. I didn't do that in this case. In this case, I just created a walkway that's pretty close to the grass and just integrated the spawn point into the walkway. I think it looks a lot more clean, a lot more fresh like that. And then as you walk in, these are actually sliding glass doors and they're automatic, but there's a problem. They broke and I cannot for the life of me figure out what the hell happened to them, because I know I wasn't tinkering with them, none of the members tinkered with them, so I really don't know. So they're pretty much stuck open for now. Alright, as you walk in, you'll notice that the front desk has paneled wood and also stacked glass. That's something I just kind of put together there. I think the wood there actually looks pretty nice like that, instead of being one solid piece. And the glass just creates kind of an abstract shape, kind of like stacks of paper, only they're see-through. And that also applies to this back wall right here. And if you notice, the floor is actually one solid piece of wood. I actually did that for a reason, because I just like the way that looks. I think that looks cool, kind of edgy, contemporary. Not something you usually see, because usually, hardwood floors have panels, and this is just one piece, so I did that because I thought it looked cool. And also on the floor is the trim, and that is actually ice. That's the ice material. I found that ice actually looks pretty nice on flooring. I didn't want to make the whole floor ice, so I just made the trims. As I said earlier, modernist architecture is all about simplicity. If you don't have simplicity, then you have clutter, and clutter is not good. To show that people are walking into a clothing store, I used Merely's coat hanger. The table is just a simple table. The mannequins are white out with the clothing items strapped on them. And nothing really special here, just a pants rack. Same on the other side, except a different color. And if you notice, the windows all around the outside are paneled. That's intentional. Like I say, it gives you that contemporary modernist feel. Now if you look up, that's a tiled ceiling. But not all of them are lights. Lights are actually placed strategically in different blocks. Like there's a more powerful one right here to light up the front desk. And as you move down into the bonfire lounge, they slowly kind of fade out. That was intentional. So the bonfire lounge is only lit by the fire. It's a nice kind of tungsten, but it's more of a fire color. kind of unusual looking here because it's basically just a solid ice block with little pieces of wood and then fire on top of it. You know, that's not something you see. But then again, it's modernistic. It's supposed to be new, interesting, and simplistic. The couches are made of ice on a slate base. Each of these couches can hold 3 people comfortably. It's kind of darker over here. I mean, it's not totally dark because there's the light from the fire. I wanted to make it darker so members can come over here and, and have really deep, intense conversations, and there's appropriate lighting for that. Before we move into the bar and grill, I just want to talk about this half wall right here. Now, obviously, it's the same thing as the paneled windows, and it also has the ice trim there. I did that to kind of separate the eating, the dining room from the rest of the clubhouse, but I didn't want to totally hide it away, if that makes any sense. Like, this is a sitting area, and these are also technically sitting areas, so I wanted those to be sort of integrated, but not, if that makes any sense. Okay, anyway, if you've ever been to a fancy hotel, such as the Four Seasons or something like that, you'll notice that in addition to tables and chairs, there's also couches and easy chairs, coupled with coffee tables. I just did this so members can come over and, chat, have a glass of wine or a whole bottle, whatever they want. And then if it's 2 people, they can just come over to one of these tables. I had a hard time thinking of what to do for the lighting in here. And, I thought about simplicity, so I just thought about cubes hanging from the ceiling that emit light, and that's what I did. And with the coffee tables and the couches here, I just made it a little bit longer. And, that, my friends, is simplicity. I added some reflective properties to it, and I believe that is slate, although it might be plastic, I don't know. Okay, moving on. The bar. There was a lot of thought that went into this bar. What I did was I Googled modernistic bar chairs, and I drew inspiration from that, and I actually designed this bar chair. This bar counter uses the same paneled glass that's found throughout the clubhouse, as well as this back wall. I did not make these wine bottles. That's something I picked up for free, just so you know. Also, none of these lights in here are white. They are slightly yellow. That gives it more of a golden, warm look. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video about modernistic architecture. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Be sure to subscribe, favorite, like, all that junk. Alright, till next time, friends. You can bring any kind of gear. What the fuck is it? Oh, it's a bomb. Oh, shit. And there goes my legs. Yeah,